My name's Peter Gabriel. I'm a musician, and I fell into the world of human rights in the 80s. I got invited to take part in some amnesty tours, and I wrote a song about South African activist Stephen Biko, who was murdered. So I know a lot of people get really bored of me talking about human rights, but I do think, along with climate change, it's something that is fundamental and of real importance and is under great threat at the moment. And so, whether we're looking at situations in Syria, in Yemen, in Palestine, in Myanmar, or now in Kashmir, we have to speak out. Otherwise, things are going to get worse. And we are a global entity, whether you like it or not. When I went to NASA, I had the chance and the privilege to meet some astronauts, including Ron Garan, who I got to know quite well, and was asking him what it was like to be up in the space station looking down on our planet and seeing this one home so clearly identified as this big blue ball, a singular big blue ball, not cut up and divided by people. And it was clear that I was naive. He said, "Well, I'm sorry to say this, but actually, there is one border that is very easy to see from space, and that's the border between India and Pakistan. So much of it is heavily illuminated, these long areas of elephant grass with bright lights that they appear as a sort of light green line. And maybe part of the way that this border, part of the reason this border is so illuminated is because there is so much deep tension, resentments, and friction between India and Pakistan. Now, the problem here is that these are both nuclear nations. So we are seriously risking a nuclear war if we just sit back and do nothing. Now, both China and India are becoming the source, the base for power in this future world. And so many politicians are afraid or do not want to speak out because they know it's going to hurt their economic interests with sort of market led politics. So it's up to ordinary people like us to say when we don't like what's going on and to say it loudly. So in Kashmir now, where there's been a shutdown since Article 370 was revoked, this was sort of semi autonomous status for Kashmir, which was also approved by the United Nations. That is gone. There's a sort of military occupation, many thousands of soldiers there. 13,000 young boys are believed to have been taken out of their homes. There are reports of rapes. This is a horrible situation. People in Kashmir aren't allowed to communicate with each other. Telephone, internet access is down. So this is not something that can continue. And many of us are afraid it's going to get worse. So I think it's really important that we and our politicians who we need to talk to and write to do make some comments. To stay silent will only make things worse. There is a different version of India, this India which is this high-tech India full of invention and innovation and which is leading the world in lots of areas. And there's an India too that many of us love and respect. Mahatma Gandhi, when I read about what he had done age 17, non-violent protests that eventually led to the independence of India, his attitude to respect for all forms of life that led me to be a vegetarian. I know he may not be a popular figure in India today, but was a big influence on me. Then all the yogic traditions. There's something there of a face of India that I would ask you to look again at. The new India, the old India, you have much to teach the world. And by ignoring the rights and the basic humanity of a large number of people in Kashmir, That's not the face of India that you should be showing to the world. Please reconsider. And to all people watching this, I'd ask you to get involved. Please write to those that you know have some influence, and let's make our opinions very clear. Thank you.